All good. So we have so much to show you in Photoshop today. I am a brand identity designer. I've been working in Photoshop for 10, 15 years. What about you, Val? What do you do?
About a decade in Photoshop, specifically, actually. I am a digital illustrator. I am also a graphic designer. And today, we are coasting across the galaxy. So we are kind of astronauts today.
It's
honestly.
True. In the future, very sci-fi. So we'll be making a poster today because we want to show you a real-world workflow with some of these new tools. So we have the contextual toolbar. We have some awesome gradient updates. We have some preset oh my goodness, thank you. Adjustment presets, I forgot how words worked. Adjustment presets, and of course the hero. What's the hero of today?
The hero of today, in my opinion, really, I believe is the generative fill. This is my favorite so far, and I'd love to show you guys all about it if you want to. Do we want to jump in right now, or do we want to go through? Okay.
So let's cut to my screen first, because I want to give you all the hottest tea update about how to get this. We're going to show you a lot of cool stuff, but that doesn't matter if you're not working along with us. So go ahead, open up your Creative Cloud desktop app right now, and you're gonna see a giant banner. I was gonna show you where to get it, but there literally is a gigantic banner. Ta-da! All you need to do right here, click to download Photoshop Beta. That's what we're gonna be working in today. We've got generative fill, and we have all kinds of updates. Some of those updates are also in the general release of Photoshop that went out this morning. If you want to, you can click on updates right here if you're not seeing things, and then you actually can click on check for updates. And so if you don't see it and you are looking in your Creative Cloud app, you really want access to this, go to updates, click on check for updates, and it should show up. I didn't have it right away, and so you may not have it. Click on check for updates and you can have it. And then everybody can join us right now. Post on social media using hashtag Adobe Firefly with whatever you create. And if you have questions, hi chat, we can see you right here.
Hello everyone.
Wave to chat. So if you have suggestions for us today, if you have questions, we're here to answer them, and we're here to design with you collaboratively.
Yes.
All right, so Val, let's hop over to your screen.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about like your zone of work and what we're gonna be working on today and how we're gonna incorporate some of this new technology.
So this is pure magic, you know, and I'm very excited. So what I kind of wanted to do, because we're gonna be creating a poster, is I've got some images which I think I'm just gonna kind of start throwing in here and working on, and you guys will kind of see where the magical things happen, and I'll explain as we go along and let you folks see what we're doing. But as always with these streams, I want to hear in the chat as we go along here things that you would like me to add to these images, what you want us to do with these images, because we definitely want to take some stuff in from the chat. So I'm gonna throw in just a futuristic image here. All of the images that I'm working with, by the way, are all available in the free section of Adobe Stock. So if you would like, for free. So if you would like to use any of these images that I'm using, they are available to you. And so I'm just going to...
And that link, by the way, sorry, stock.adobe.com/free.
Yes.
That's how you filter the frees. Our moderator will drop a link in chat for you if you want to go explore some futuristic images, get the beta, get some future, and join us on this journey through space.
All right, so what I'm going to do is actually, I'm just going to kind of crop up to the edge of this image here. And what I'd like to do is add a little something to this for now. And really what I think that we need is, this is like some kind of futuristic hallway on the edge of a building. We've got this cool window going over with this like panorama of the city, but I feel like it could be more future. That is a professional term.
More future.
More future.
More future.
And so what I'd like to do is I'd just like to add kind of a spaceship, like if you could imagine a ship just kind of hovering outside the window here. Maybe that's not a window at all. Maybe that is an entry, an exit, you know? And so you could,
it's like a little like docking bay.
Yeah, like somebody's just pulled their spaceship, their hovercraft right up to the edge here. So I am going to, just with my lasso tool, I've just circled a little area. And you can see up pops this new little generative fill button, which I can click. And this allows me...
Oh, it's behind me. which the contextual toolbar, there we go.
There we go.
If you ever have that issue that you're live streaming and your head is over a toolbar, the contextual toolbar is your new best friend. This is a new feature, and anything that you're selecting or doing in Photoshop, it will change, and just like a good best friend, will be like, hey bestie, are you trying to do this? Let me help you. So we made the selection, and it said, do you want to put something here? And we clicked on generative fill.
And so now it says, describe what you'd like to generate, or feel free to leave this blank. But we're going to describe something. So I feel like we should do like a hovering vehicle, we could say futuristic, please. Let me spell everything correctly today.
Yes, which that is a good pro tip as you type. Spelling is very important. If you don't spell something right, it thinks you're typing in a language that it doesn't understand, and it can't generate an image based on a language it doesn't understand. So check your spelling always. And the tips for writing a good prompt, try to keep it between 5 to 8 words. If you get more descriptive, you can really get into the nitty gritty, and then leave out action commands. So don't say add this or do this, just type in what you want to put in that zone.
Yes. And so what I've done there is I just added that sentence there, and I hit enter. And so now it's going to do a little thinking, doing a little loading. Magic takes time, but boom.
That's so fun!
So not only that, it really doesn't stop there. So we have kind of a little vehicle in here, but over here in the properties panel, you can see it's kind of transformed a little bit, because in our layers, this has kind of generated a brand new kind of layer here. We've got our generative fill has created a layer on top here, which I can toggle on and off. And when you have your generative fill layer selected here, you can see in the properties panel, it shows you the prompt that you have added. You can actually re-edit this and regenerate more variations of the prompt, but it also has a variation section where it gives you 3 different examples or 3 different creations. So we can actually cycle through there and kind of see what we get. I honestly feel like we need to add a little more pizzazz to our prompt. So I was thinking, some zhuzh, yeah. That is such a good word. I so love that you just said that. Yeah. So let's go, instead of futuristic hovering vehicle, I actually want to see if we can do like futuristic, like a flying saucer. Like I feel like it needs to be, because this kind of looks like a cryo sleep chamber. That's just like kind of parked.
Like somebody's like, I'm gonna take a nap.
Yeah. So let's say futuristic flying saucer, and I believe I spelled saucer correctly. And also we have our wonderful chat, our wonderful friends hanging out. So if anyone has any ideas as we go along in this, please feel free to put any ideas for the prompts and everything in the chat, because we will see them and we will incorporate some of your ideas. Absolutely. So we'll say futuristic flying saucer. I'm not going to denote color.
Yeah, I'd say go for it, because we can change, we can work on color if we need to.
Yeah.
Again, using collaboratively with this technology and the tech of Photoshop, if we need to go in, change a color, add an adjustment layer, we can do that in conjunction. Really, this is just a tool to help us speed up our workflows. And a lot of the things that I have done in the past, a lot of things I've done in the past in Photoshop, I am still doing, incorporating generative fill into it and using that lovely contextual toolbar.
So this looks amazing, by the way. That is fabulous. I feel like that definitely gave me everything that I wanted. It also is looks really, really good with the colors that we have in our image so far.
Yes.
And we can switch around to some of the other ones, but one of the things that I'd like to call attention to is that we do have our previous generations here that were within that layer already from our previous prompt. And if I come over to one of those previous layers there, those little variations, you can see that it shows our prompt, but if I come back to these newer flying saucers, it changes so you can see which prompt I used for that particular generation. So I love this, and I think that works for me. You can also just, on our toolbar here, you can actually cycle through with the arrow keys as well. You can also change here and hit generate and do all of those things. It's really up to you how you want to use it. This is intuitive for me personally to be able to see everything in my little layers or my little panels over here, because that's just how I work.
Yes, and what's really cool about this that I didn't discover until yesterday, it's basically functioning as a smart layer, right? And so just like you would add filters to a smart layer and you can go in and edit it, it is going to save this. So if Val saved this PSD and sent it to me, this would be here, right? It's not just throwing pixels down, it's actually creating a smart layer that blends with the background. And I think that's what's so interesting is a lot of times when you're generating things with generative fill, it looks like it's just kind of tossing an image on there. It's filling the entire selection that you have, and then you can kind of adjust that as you need.
I'm just gonna kind of move this around so we can see a little bit more here. I hope that gives us a
I
little
do
more
love when
visibility.
buttons are close enough so that I can tap on it. It reminds me of like a Legends of the Hidden Temple where they're like jumping and grabbing bananas and stuff. I
Yeah, I
aged
will
myself
leave
there.
this right here so that you can reach
yes.
up and point at our
Generate,
things.
thank you.
Generate.
All right, so where do we want to take this? To me, it's feeling a little claustrophobic.
It is feeling a little claustrophobic. I wonder if we could add something to this hallway. I also have some other images which I felt would be like perfect for some of the other fancier things that
Ooh,
we
let's
can
do that. Let's do
with
some fancy.
generative film. So
Let's do some
what I'm gonna
fancy.
do is I'm actually just gonna snag all of these and group them, and we'll call this the space one.
There we go, got it.
Space one, just so that I have it, and I'm gonna go ahead and just hide that for now, and I'm gonna come over to my libraries, and now I thought this would be a perfect image to use for today because we have like literally a whole area set up here that just like does not have anything in it.
Yes.
So we can do a whole lot here with this, and the first thing I'm gonna do actually is I'm just going to grab my crop tool, and I'm gonna bring these edges in because I don't want that space on the side there, but I do want to maybe do something with the empty space that's up here. Maybe bring it up a little bit.
Yeah,
you
let's
think,
add,
you know?
Yes, enhance.
Yes, it is. So I'm just gonna drag this down here, and what I'm gonna do is I am going to snag, actually, let's do crop again.
Got it, yep.
And I'm gonna pull my crop up just to kind of make this long, like a poster.
Like a
because
crop
we
top.
wanna do,
Like
yes.
crop in the top. Like,
Yes. And I'm
it's like a reverse crop top.
It is a reverse crop
Yeah.
top. In the future.
In the future.
That's how they
Future
work.
reverse crop top. They just wear the bottom half. Love that.
Yes.
Okay.
So I am going to, with my rectangular marquee tool, I'm just going to come in and select the top of this. And I also think I'm going to grab my polygonal lasso tool and I'm going to hold shift and just add some things to it, just because I want to select like kind of the sky in here and just go ahead and snag a whole bunch of the area here.
Yes.
I almost, because this is a pretty hard edge here, I feel like we could also get away with like being a little cleaner with that, maybe with like a subject select, but
and we
maybe...
could, in theory, this is basically, so again, we're talking about incorporating our current workflows with these new workflows.
Yeah.
We just saw sky replacement come in the last update in Max, right? Awesome sky replacement. And now this is an extension of that, right?
Yeah.
We're doing like sky extension, and we could then do sky replacement on that extension if we wanted to using generative fill.
So the reason why I did want to select all of that stuff is because I figured we were about to make some magic up here as if the image was always this ratio, but
Love
it'd be
it.
really cool to have like some buildings and things coming up from the
I love that.
skyline,
Okay, let's see
kind
it.
of reaching
A
into the
skyline.
sky. Yes. And so how would we describe that? Let's go ahead and kind of experiment here. I'll put this right there. And we could do something like, there you go.
I went to the wrong side.
We could
maybe
do something like
futuristic skyline at dusk. Maybe we change the time of day.
Yeah. Okay.
And some questions from chat that I want to answer real quick. Someone is saying, can you already use the results and share them via social media or commercially? So it is being built and trained to be safe for commercial use. It is not safe for, or it is not for commercial use yet. It is still in the beta, so not for commercial use, but feel free to share on social media. Use hashtag Adobe Firefly with what you're generating so that we can see it. And what's really cool is if you are running Photoshop, if you have been running Photoshop, your computer can handle this. I see some questions about how much weight does it add to your machine. Same specs. So it is, again, if you're running Photoshop, you can run this. Don't be scared. Go in, download the beta, give it a try, and oh my goodness, look at this.
So we've got like a pretty dramatic kind of sky here. And so I think what would probably be best to do is to select like a smaller area here and add skyline specifically. I did add a lot of extra words to our prompt.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and just like in this area here between like that top extension of the sky.
Actually, sorry, while we're doing this, can we like kill this selection?
Yeah.
And I want to show just a combination of tools that we have that are newer, that are in our workflows, and these new tools. So the object select tools that we have that just got added again at max. So if you go to the magic wand right underneath that, actually it is already selected right there.
I use it all the time.
Yes, so again, what this is gonna do is it's going to
So I could technically do this, or I could do it in reverse, honestly.
Yes.
I could drag, you could hover over and it will highlight for you, so I could select this if I wanted to, and I could also start clicking around and selecting other pieces. I think it really depends on how you'd like to do things. We could just select only the sky because it looks like it got a pretty good highlight over the whole sky there. And I think it kind of is up to you how much you'd like to clean it up.
Yes.
But
yes, it looks like it's selecting the extension of it's selecting like the mask pieces. That's why the selection got wonky. Anyway, so yeah, so you can use the object selection, you can use all these tools in conjunction with generative fill. It is not all about pushing a button. It is a very helpful button, but it is a kind of addition to your current workflows.
So what should we do next? I feel like I definitely also want to take some ideas from the chat as far as what we throw in here. I, think that it would be really great to add a city in the background. I feel like that, kind of building it up into sort of a futuristic space. But let us know if you have anything that you'd like us to throw in. I'm just gonna go for it here unless you feel like we should be picky and clean up this little area. I mean,
we could go for it.
Okay, let's go ahead and go for it.
There's no rules.
And we could say futuristic skyline, city skyline. Let's like add the word city in there.
Oh, that's good. Yes, we have like buildings or skyscrapers maybe.
Futuristic. Maybe I shouldn't do it in caps. I don't know.
It feels right.
Yeah, you're probably right. I like the energy, honestly. Okay. Yeah. Futuristic city skyline, and we could just try that for now unless you think that we should add some more. So let's go ahead and see where that goes.
And while that renders out, if we cut over to my screen, I want to show you something that is available again to you all. So firefly.adobe.com, today you can go in, you can start playing around with some of these tools. And if we click on text to image, this is something that has been around for a little while. You've probably seen it on a stream before. But let's say that I wanted to try to mirror something that you're doing, right? And so I kind of say futuristic, city, skyline, photorealistic. Realistic. Whew. The amount of realistic. That's anytime I'm generating. So I'm going to generate one of these images. Looks great here. And I actually want to do photo this time so that it looks a little more like a photo that we could be using. And watch what happens is there's a new button that is right up here. You can see it has generative fill. And just like in Photoshop, we're here, and now we have the tool to be able to use it in the web experience. So I can add in, let's say that I want to add a spaceship like you did. All I need to do is click on add. I have my insert, and I'm just going to select the area that I want to add a spaceship. And then I can type in sci-fi spaceship flying saucer. And when I generate this, what it's going to do is it's going to plug that image that it's generating into the image that I have right there. And you can see it's matching the lighting, the sun rays, everything is kind of pulling together, so you don't have to do a lot of the compositing work. Again, it's just speeding up your workflows, right? Nobody wants to be sitting there cutting things out, making selections. Boom, you can do it here way faster. All right, let's cut back and see what we have landed on.
I love this. I cannot wait. So we have, I think, before we didn't just do like adding clouds and stuff, we also added a time of day and everything, but just adding like futuristic city skyline has like taken this look, sort of like the similar look and this similar material, and like created what I think is a pretty good looking concept space for like, I feel like I'm in the courtyard possibly of like a really important like corporate building in like 3247.
Yes, it feels like very Blade Runner, but like if Apple did Blade Runner.
Yes, exactly.
So someone in the chat actually has a suggestion for us, which I think would be great. Can you indicate some futuristic vehicles in the space below? It looks like a lot of parking spaces.
Yes,
yes. I love that.
I think that's a fabulous idea. And I was also thinking that this large structure here looks like some kind of, you know, important building. So if anyone has any ideas for what we could do, maybe like a big banner, like,
ooh, yes.
you know, just like drop down the side of this.
I'll work on some of that.
Okay,
yes.
All right. And then in the meantime, we are going to take that idea from, I believe that is Creature 10, asking for a parking lot for spaceships, some hovercraft areas, and I think that's a good idea. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm thinking we could create, because we can come in with our polygonal lasso tool and we can add like some lines or denotion areas. And I'm thinking one of the first things we could do is maybe this entire space is not a parking lot, but maybe we can have like right here, we can kind of have some kind of sitting area. Like let's bring this right here. I'm just gonna kind of do that in perspective. And we can like maybe put some kind of wall separating, like this is the front courtyard of this area, and then there'll be some like hovercrafts over here.
Yes.
So something, let me reselect.
And when you're selecting, another pro tip here, we're here to help. When you're selecting, think about perspective. It will match perspective, so you don't have to worry about that. But think about kind of where things are going. So you can see Val is drawing a rectangle kind of at perspective, and think about kind of helping it put it where it needs to be. This also has something for scale. So if you're trying to put an apple on a table and you make a small little selection, that apple is going to be a tiny little apple. And so you want to make sure that you're selecting the entire area that you want to put something in there.
I'm just gonna see what happens if we generate just futuristic, like, sort of wall. Ooh. Like a little, like, you know, area there, and then we can like do a line of spacecrafts kind of thing. I said transparent and it made it invisible.
Maybe glass?
Oh, that actually, I feel like that, hold on a second. I kind of like, almost like that, like just cleaned that area up and made it look really nice. And it is kind of like a little glass-esque. I should have put glass because I thought about that at first, but I might leave that here because I think that just looks really nice and settled there. But let's do something interesting. Let's actually put some spaceships in here. I'm thinking that we could add, I have tried to add rows of spaceships, and you actually can get legitimately a row of spaceships extending someplace. So if I go like this, and I bring this down in perspective as we were discussing, and I do something like a row of spaceships extending into the distance. Yeah, let's see if we can do that. I have tested it out a few times, and it did do something actually that was pretty cool. And I want to see if we can do that again. Then I feel like we definitely need a bunch of spaceships up here. Maybe a spaceship that's like hovering and overlapping. Let's see where this went. I wonder. Let's try that again. Let's try a different sort of prompt. Let's just do one large
I was like that we're still in all caps.
We are still in all caps. I will take caps off. Let's not do caps. Let's say just like white hovercraft. Hover car. I feel like that might give us car stuff. Hover spaceship.
Yes.
I feel like we will get more like actual car-shaped things, and I don't know if we want actual car-shaped things. I think we want it to look a little alternative, you know, Alternative, is a good word for it.
And something we might want to try too is maybe merging everything down and then building on top of that one more time.
I think that's probably
I think it's sampling stuff that is already generative filled.
Yes.
And so it's generativing on the generative.
I just went ahead and made it a smart object so that I can get in there and look around later. So now let's try that again. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna do just my polygonal lasso tool again, and we'll do like a big, large spaceship kind of like parked in here.
Big boy.
Yes, and let's go ahead and do the same kind of thing. We'll say futuristic, hover craft. Can I do hovercraft?
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Let's see if that throws something in there.
And for those of you saying you don't see it in the Creative Cloud desktop app, make sure that you go click on that check for updates and see if that will bring it up for you. It also is not available to anyone under 18.
Okay, I like that's like almost like a ooh.
Okay. I wanna. That feels like the space version of like a Sea-Doo.
Yes, it does. Honestly, I'm here for it. This almost looked like some kind of, like, this is way larger up here than we thought, because if this is like a building. But I do actually really like this. I think that's super cool. I feel like we could probably do another few things sort of like this to kind of create that like parking area, like what, you know, everybody was talking about. So let's kind of bring more of that. Let's like do another one. Like, I want to find the edge of that. There we go. That's good enough for me. And we could do. Give me a word we haven't used in our hovercraft spaceship sort of generation prompt.
Yes.
Here,
because give us something. I think maybe like a surfboard kind of thing could be cool, or like a.
We could add the word surfboard and just like interpret it. Okay,
Absolutely.
Let's see. Futuristic surfboard, because it doesn't have to be. You know, I feel like you can experiment with prompts. Why not use words that aren't actually what you're looking for specifically in the prompt, but because it's future, so you can make it what you want it.
It's the future.
So futuristic surfboard with wings.
Oh, like a flying surfboard.
Yeah,
like a flying surfboard.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see what it comes up with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious if the selection might be too small. Well, let's see what it generates.
It's possible. I can grab. Just put. It could be.
Surfboard.
I mean, yeah, it's surfboard. So let's go ahead and.
Oh, a capsule. That's a really good idea.
A capsule.
A capsule, like
a big,
like something that you would sleep in.
Okay.
That like is just parked there.
All right.
So while you generate that, we can cut back over to my screen. So I've been working behind the scenes secretly with a conjunction of Firefly, of Illustrator, kind of pulling things together, because I want to show you another tool that is available now in this Adobe Firefly beta that you can see. If you scroll down just a little bit past the stuff we've been talking about and go to generative recolor, great new tool. You can click on generate, and all I'm going to do is click on upload SVG. And I'm going to grab this SVG that I just created right here. And I'm going to kind of come up with some colors. And maybe we want it to be very summer, bright, fun, and electric. So we're going to hit generate, and it will take that SVG, find some color palettes for us. If you've used color.adobe.com before, this is helping us kind of speed up that process. And again, just work faster. And so you can see, this looks great to me. I love this. We can hit shuffle here, and it will shuffle into different variations of that.
Amazing.
Right? Pretty fun. And then I can click download, and it will download that SVG back for me very quickly. So maybe we can use something like this for the poster that we put on the side of the building.
I love it.
All right, so let's see what we've generated over on your parking lot here.
So I went ahead with the like capsule sort of idea here. And we did actually get some pretty cool things. I kind of like this. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it screams future to me. This is really cool though.
It's
like I feel like this is like this is definitely the future. So I kind of want to leave this one. I think that was an excellent idea. And I believe that was from Fabiolita Draws. So thank you for the idea. I feel like we also though, we really need more like spaceships flying. Like I'm imagining like, you know, the whole Futurama like you know,
Yes,
with
with
yeah.
the streets.
Yes. So I think what I'm gonna do is I am going to come over here and see if we can experiment with a little something. Let me do like, let me grab my polygonal lasso tool. I am, you know, one of the things that I'm really learning just as like, you know, sharing a little bit of my personal experience with the generative fill, just in case you folks run into this as well, is like being mindful of the size of my selection as I start to add things, because I have an idea for like kind of what I want to go into a space, but it may interpret what I add a little bit differently. And so leaving a lot of breathing room for anything that could possibly come about is, I think, a pretty good rule of thumb.
Yes.
You know? So let's go ahead and let's try this again. I want to try
Let it cook.
A line of multiple space. Let's do flying saucers, because flying saucers seems to be the name of the game today.
Okay.
Flying saucers. A line of multiple flying saucers. Okay, let's see. Because I feel like we could do that, like disappearing behind the building, and then I could do another line coming in from the other area, and it would just look like air traffic, you know?
And once we do this, I think that we can play around. We were talking before the show about generating textures. Ooh.
We got one.
Okay.
We got one. That works for me. Let's look. We can look at the other ones,
Yes.
but continue.
And what's cool here is, again, we can do a more traditional workflow. We can mask out one of these and then keep building with a whole bunch. We can generate as many as we need to. And what's really cool here is, once we get done with this, we're going to show you a way to generate really great textures and effects and then put them onto your photo. So we're still going to be compositing, traditional compositing, but we are going to be combining the power of generative fill with the power of Photoshop. It's going to be really, really fun. So
Indeed.
I'll generate some of those textures for us.
Okay.
While you continue over there. Let's go ahead and hop over to my screen. And I'm just going to have a white layer. That's right. It is just a layer that is just white. Very easy. So I'm going to make a new layer here by just Control Shift N is going to be a new layer. And I'm going to fill that with white. All right, so white layers. And this is something I'm still kind of playing around with and discovering. I think it will work. Let's give it a shot. So let's say that we want to add maybe some lens flare effects. So what I'll do is I'll kind of just make a selection here. And then I'll generate and click and just generate, let's say, lens flare on black background with sparks. So hit generate, it's going to generate this for me. And thinking through the foundational basics of how we use Photoshop, right? One of the best things in Photoshop is blending modes. And so when I'm thinking about generating things like this, I am thinking about blending modes. Let's see, what did I? Oh, okay, I spelled lens wrong. So let's just do light flare. Not only did I spell lens wrong, I also didn't think about lens being glasses. So if you have an unexpected result like that, think about how to communicate it a different way, right? So I'm doing like a kind of light leak on a black background. Let's see what it pulls in here.
Burst.
Oh, like a light burst.
Yeah, like a light burst on a black background.
Okay.
Light gradient, you know,
Yes.
just kind of
and actually,
thinking
let's
of
do
different.
this. I'm going to make it black here. And let's just do sparks and light glows. And let's see what happens. If we're doing it on a black background, I'm doing that so that I can then merge it down and then send it over to Val to kind of overlay on there to have something on the image. So let's see what it generates. I have done this with textures. So doing like concrete textures is really good. Okay, there's some sparks. Okay, so what I can do is I'm going to merge this down real quick. And then I'm just going to drag it into our shared library, and then we can show how we can incorporate it on your side. So you're continuing to generate ships over there. What do you got going on that screen?
We have got kind of a little cluster of, I don't know if these are invading flying saucers. I think that this is where they're
going
from.
home for the day.
Yeah, they're
just
you
hanging
know,
out.
they just had a day at the office. You know, it's been a little stressful. They're going to, you know, hang out with their friends. play some video games. Oh, the video games this world probably has, you know. This is, I think that actually looks pretty cool. So we've got like, you know, some flying saucers happening in the sky. We've got our like future Corvette here, which is what it's starting to look like to me a little bit. We've got our like sort of capsule sort of structure here, and it almost to me looks like this is a building of some kind, and that this vehicle here is much larger than I originally was like sort of seeing it. So maybe this is like a bus of some kind, but we've got like kind of a cool thing going on so far that I am really loving, and I think that it would be really cool to, I mean, what else does it need as like a base for a pretty cool poster? Because we're gonna get like some light leak kind of stuff, hopefully, like kind of throw some stuff in there. I feel like we might need to experiment with a little bit of text, you know, could be cool.
Let's do some gradients.
Let's
play around some gradients. So
let's
there is a gradient in which we were freaking out before. Again, we've been using Photoshop forever. We've been using Illustrator forever. And we're so excited. Like, generative feels amazing. I do think that I may be like equally as excited for the way that gradients work now in Photoshop, because it's gonna just be so much easier.
So I'm gonna come in here on my gradients panel, and I'm gonna, you know, kind of go through and just look at what's available to us by default, because I think we've got like kind of a mellow color palette right here, and I feel like we can choose some of these really soft, nice tones. Maybe something like this could work, and I'm gonna make sure that I have my actual gradient tool selected here, so as I kind of toggle that on, I can come in and start to, if I can, start to kind of play around with how this gradient is interacting here. And I think I'm gonna maybe change the distance. I might also turn this to the side before we maybe experiment a little bit with blending modes, because I know that my sky is up here, and then we have kind of a different color down here towards the bottom. We can also kind of come in a little that way. And I'm just gonna go ahead, and I think that works for now, but let's throw it on a blending mode just so we can start to see through it a little bit. And I think what we will use, I'm gonna preview these because I don't want it to be so wild and crazy. I feel like overlay honestly really blends everything super nicely together. If we can like peek at that, I feel like it just kind of really tied everything in very nicely. And one of the things that's cool, so we've got that blue kind of stretching up into the corner there. We've got like this like kind of a soft blushy pink kind of coming down.
This toning is looking very like vintage sci-fi.
Yes, very much. And we can also, if I hover on the edge here and go ahead and add another color to my gradients, I can do that. And what I'd like to do is change the color, maybe something just like sampled straight from there, if I can.
And if you notice,
if I want
the gradient tool interface is very, very different. So you can, just like Illustrator, kind of click to add a dot of where you want to add a color. You can drag things around. It's giving you live previews. So no more of the days of like gradient, 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 right? I know that we all know that workflow that we like just keep dragging out the gradient again and again until we get it right.
And just see if you can figure it out.
Yes, it's just here. It's just perfect.
Honestly. Sorry, I was, you know,
no,
when
you're
something
good.
Cool is happening,
Yes.
and then you just
Tell
kind
me
of start.
about it.
So I was just realizing that with this darker color, like kind of in the center here, it almost like keeps us with that tone, but adds like like a dark tone underneath where our flying saucers are hovering, and I almost like it, but I kind of, I don't know, I might just...
A designer's journey.
I know, it's just
like
I don't hate it.
Yes.
But I might leave it as is here, just because I do kind of miss that like bright open tone. I think that actually looks pretty cool. I think I might leave that, especially with that pink. I don't know why that looks so good down there, but it sure does, doesn't it?
It does. So something that I just added into our library, I added in a little light spark explosion, and this could be something for like a portal maybe. And you'll see, again, super mega hack. Generate on a fully black background, and you can get great light leaks, you can get orbs, you can get textures, and then all you need to do is set that blending mode to screen, and watch what happens. All that black floats away, and now we have this really cool effect that you can put onto your image. So,
oh, you know what we could do with this?
Tell me what we could do with
this. We are going to transform this, and we're gonna get a little interesting with the perspective is what we're gonna do.
Ooh.
Let's go into distort, I think, because I'm just gonna eyeball this, and I think we can start making this look sort of
like it's the energy like coming out the bottom.
Yeah. Like just kind of, if I am gonna do it properly. I know what I'm doing. I can do it. You know, but when you start messing with the distort.
Yeah, like you get into your regular process, and this happens all the time here on Adobe Live. If you've never watched Adobe Live before, hi, hello, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. We are live pretty much every single weekday, giving you awesome content for you to learn, level up your skills. And if you've ever watched before, you know that this is the workflow that we're in right now, right?
Yes.
Oh, look at, we have a little animated graphic. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
This way.
Yes, this way. So we want to show you, like us, we are real creatives. We are figuring this out with you. We mess up, and a lot of times we get into our actual workflows, which is what we're doing now, and then we have to reassure you that we do know what we're doing.
Yes.
Because our normal workflows are very chaotic, and we love that. So hopefully your workflows are just as chaotic as ours, and you can kind of relate to what we're doing. And if you are creating using generative fill, hashtag Adobe Firefly, or if you're using firefly.adobe.com, share on social media and let us know what you're creating.
Is this like something that could be interesting? It's like they have like little force fields underneath here.
Oh, so yeah. So maybe they're like landing,
thinking.
and this is their like afterburners.
Like a little, honestly, they could just like not even be flying saucers. This could be like, that could be a bar up there. That could be, you know,
like
that could be like a hangout.
Maybe somewhere. Yeah,
you
I love that.
That could be a hangout up there. I honestly, I'm trying to figure out, maybe I'll put it on one of these.
And while you perspective with those, let's go ahead and cut back to my screen real quick.
Yeah.
I do want to show you, because I know that this works 100%. Let's say that I want to add texture to an image. All I need to do is, a question in chat was, do you need to start with an image? Absolutely not. Anything that you can imagine is now available and easy to use here in Photoshop. So we are going to have a white artboard, completely white. There's no image here except for whiteness. And we are going to click on generative fill. And then from here, I'm going to go broken concrete texture with, let's do maybe like grit. And then I'm going to type in black and white just to make sure. I don't probably need to put that. I actually don't need to put that because I can use an adjustment layer. But we're going to generate that in here, and we are going to generate a texture that we could then use on typography. We could put over a poster maybe. And in my past experience, it's been awesome. Yeah, there we go. So we have a really awesome texture here that we could use. One there and one here. I'm actually going to use this one here. And I'm, real quick, how are we doing over there? Still perfecting? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I'm
I just want to make sure that
stuff,
I'm not taking over too much. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to merge this down, and I'm going to get really a little more advanced. If you've never used, I just got excited, so we're going to do it. If you've never used displacement maps in Photoshop. So check this out. I've generated this texture. It is black and white. There's a lot of gritty goodness on it. And I'm going to go ahead and save this file. And I'm going to save this file as texture and hit enter. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type out some type on white. So we're going to grab the type tool by hitting T, and I'm just going to type in Adobe Live. That's us. That's all of you here with us right now. So I'm going to type this out. I'm going to put my type here. It's going to kill me if I don't fix this. And the great thing with the contextual toolbar, it's all right here, right? If I need to change anything, the font, whatever, I can do it right here. So check this out. I'm going to go over here, and I am going to change the tracking. Distance between top and bottom tracking. Got it. Okay. Yes. Okay, so we're going to do this. And then watch what happens is I'm going to take this layer of my type, and I'm going to use that texture that I just had generative fill on, right? So I'm going to rasterize my type just to be safe. And then I'm going to go to Filter, Distort, Displace. And we want to just keep these settings for now because we're trying things. And then we're going to put our texture in here. We're going to hit open. And now it displaces that type. And look at this gritty, delicious texture that we got. And again, that's what I wanted to show. In the workflows that I use, I'm always texturing type. I'm always trying to get those rough edges. And generative fill is a great complement to my current workflows, right? So I can generate texture, work, put it as a displacement map, use it in my regular texture, just speeds everything up.
Because how long have you spent on any occasion when you're trying to make a displacement map, like hunting for the perfect texture? I have spent hours.
Yes, I literally will take pictures of like carpet and like on my phone go for a walk and I'm like, okay, I need concrete, whatever. It just like I can do it all here and I can do most of it from this contextual toolbar that is floating around saying like, hey bestie, what do you want to do? Okay, so we have some beams happening over here. It looks like you're back into generating. What are we generating?
I think we don't have to do. We don't have to. We can move on to another thing. I just wanted to see if possibly I could do like a cotton candy pink beam me up Scotty moment here, which I'm not sure how I feel about it, but
really, I love the first one.
I do actually kind of feel like. Do you like the first one or the second one? I feel like the second one is kind of a little softer.
Yes.
But I kind of like it. I think we'll leave it in there. So what do we need next? What are we doing? Because I feel like we could do text. We could go through.
Let's do some text.
Okay, let's do some text.
Let's do some text. So as you do some of that text, I do want to answer a question that happened somewhere in chat. There we go. Can you use a generative on a transparent layer? That would be easier. So in theory, yes, but doing it needs something to generate from. And so doing it on like a white layer or a black layer, it at least has like pixels that it is generating from. And so doing it on a blank layer, I don't think will work. Let me actually check. I don't think it will work on a blank layer because it needs something to generate from.
Okay. I am going to dive into text, but if you want to generate another burst of something, maybe you can try to actually generate a beam on a black background. Yes. You could do that as well because I think that would be really cool.
All right, chat. So let's go ahead and while Val looks for text, I am going to, and we're going to use Adobe Firefly to render out some text, which would be awesome. But I will go ahead and see if we can get on a transparent just a triangular beam. And I'm actually going to be very specific about the kind of shape that I draw here. Let's go ahead and kind of just make a triangle and let's see what happens. I'm actually very curious about trying to generate on a blank. Oh, Andrew.
Also, our poster, because we are making a poster, we need is it a movie? I feel like it should
I think it's a movie.
And what is this movie?
We need a title, chat.
Who is it starring? First of all, because I feel like we could snag somebody from the chat to be the star of our movie. Absolutely, I feel like that has to happen.
I think Chad. Chad is an awesome Photoshop guru.
Yes.
Chad, I think.
Chad Rolfs. Okay,
Yes.
Chad Rolfs is the action hero of our futuristic movie. What is this movie called? I'm gonna need to know the title of this. I'm thinking. I'm gonna stay away from the obvious futuristic movie titles that I want.
The future.
The future.
The future.
But we're going to go ahead. I'm going to just start messing around with text looks.
I also love that we both are doing this little thing.
Yes.
That we're like ready. Okay, so here is why I was generating on black or white. If you make a selection on, and this is what I thought was going to happen. If you make a selection on a transparent background, it is going to fill that whole selection, right? So we talked about it kind of. It's making that smart layer and it's filling in all that space. So when we generate on a black layer, it is actually generating the black as well, right? And so it's just taking the context. And so if we do it on a blank layer, it doesn't have anything to go off of. And so if we do a black layer, it is still generating that black, but we won't be able to notice it because we are going to be screening that black out. Again, that's why it's still important to know the basics of Photoshop, how it works, and how you can use it along with this new workflow. So we're going to generate in that same prompt, and we'll see the difference between the two and how we can kind of use this system to incorporate into our workflow.
Love it.
I also love that your screen just says Chad.
He's the star. He's the
Yes.
star of this whole thing. So obviously, but I feel like this is what I would love for like the movie title font to be in,
Yes.
but we just have Chad for now, but we definitely have to have like a title of sorts. So I'm gonna look and see what we've got. A Day at the Office starring Chad. I mean, it could be a futuristic office. It doesn't have to be an action film.
Can it be like just like a future it's like they decided to
reboot
reboot
of The Office,
but
yes.
like in like 1,000 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna do The Office, and then it's gonna be like
Val.
starting. Ooh, that
Look
is
who's
perfect.
got some sparkles.
Oh my gosh.
It's good.
I love
So
so much.
to show you what's going on here again, because people were asking about the transparent background. This is on transparent background. It is not rendering transparently. It is rendering the black, but that's because it's taking the context of what's around it. And so that's why when you're trying to do stuff like this, render on black, render on white, use multiply, use screen, and it'll be super easy to pull it off of that background.
Another thing, so this is gonna be The Office, but I feel like, what's a futuristic word for office? Because I feel like it shouldn't be The Office, it should be like the landing pad.
I love that, the landing pad.
The
I like the
landing
landing
pad.
pad, yes. So while Val does that, I'm using Creative Cloud libraries, which if you haven't used them, they're amazing for collaboration. I just grabbed this layer directly in Photoshop, hit plus, added that graphic, and check it out. Val now has that in her libraries that she can use on that moment. And someone's saying, that was a bit too fast. I'm not sure if you're saying I was talking too fast or it's scary how fast it works. I'll take both. I'll slow down my talk and I will celebrate the efficiency of Photoshop.
I'm gonna go ahead and come over here and like throw this in here. We've got some landing pad text. I feel like we could do some sort of something here where I will, use the gradients to like kind of give us, because right now you can't read it. So I feel like we're gonna like maybe fill in the top here with like kind of fade it.
With a gradient, using the new gradient tool?
Using the new gradient
Ooh,
tool,
and we
indeed.
got about 5 minutes just
Okay.
for time check. So
Oh goodness.
this is when we start to scramble.
Yes, time flies. I'm gonna hide it
With the
and
UFOs.
use what you have given me in the library. It might take me a little time to load it here.
It's all good.
Maybe
and
I can
While
experiment
you
with gradients.
do that, I'll show what you just did when your screen wasn't on. Is
Yes.
Val was actually using on the text effects. So if you go to firefly.adobe.com, you can play around with the Innovarium. I love that. Someone said Nintendo Systems instead of the Office, the Innovarium.
Oh, that's perfect.
Right? It sounds
Okay.
really good.
Yeah, we might
So
have to do that
what
instead.
Val was doing was clicking on text effects and then typing in the text that you want. So Innovarium, I love that. And then describing it. So maybe we want it to be futuristic, sci-fi, maybe white and blue. We can designate some colors and then hit generate. And then from here, we can actually pick different fonts if we like a font. I always use Source Sans just because I like this font a lot. And it will generate some really cool text effects. Ooh, I love those. Right?
And it has like blue in it, which I think is like that blue is gonna look really great with
Yes.
Innovarium. Oh
So
my gosh.
I'm gonna download that, and then what's cool is, right, we're working in Photoshop. That's okay, I'm gonna open Illustrator because I'm dropping it into this library that we've been using, and I can very, very easily just come into this library, and in any Creative Cloud app that has libraries, all you need to do is open that library, and I actually can just go to my downloads. Where are you, downloads? Downloads, there we go. There it is, right here. And I can bring this into whatever program, right? So I literally just dragged it in, and then I can add to library. So with it selected, go to plus, and then click on graphic, and boom, that graphic is now in there. So you can do that. Photoshop, you can they go into Express, anywhere that Creative Cloud libraries are available. Super easy and super fast to be able to do that. So you're doing one more gradient.
Yeah, I probably should not waste as much time as I'm wasting on this though. So
We got 5 minutes left. Okay, let me get into the details of a gradient.
Yeah, let me mess with it. I honestly I was debating whether or not we actually wanted to wash it out that much, but I almost kind of feel like it gives it like a sort of like stylistic vibe to it, which I might play with a little bit more. But I feel like if we kind of do it like that, then we can get a little more readability on our title. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it like this and just go with that. And we can throw the title in and see where we can get to in our last 5 minutes. So I'm just going to drag that in here. I feel like that looks pretty good right up there.
And make sure that you stick around after this. We're going all day here on Adobe Live. So stick around with us all day. If you're working on something, keep us on in the background. If you're driving, don't look at your screen. Just like listen to us or whatever. We'll
We're
do
a podcast.
Yeah, so there is text that is being moved around the screen. So hopefully you're joining us for the rest of the day right after this. I believe that we have Paul Traney coming up, which is going to be a really fun time.
Yes, indeed.
I'll be hosting him, so it's going to be completely off the rails and so much fun. And we'll be taking a lot of your suggestions from chat. I believe that we might be trying to build some monsters, so that'll be fun. A little spooky.
That should be a blast.
Spooky. Yeah,
I like it. That's right up my alley for sure.
Contextual toolbar.
Yes, contextual toolbar. So I like have all of my stuff here, and I'm just, I'm using my text tool, and I'm going through and adding things, and just as I'm switching from tool to tool, it is pulling up here on this toolbar. Like, is this what you want to do next? Is this what you're looking for?
Helpful. It really
so
is
I don't
the
have to,
bestie.
I don't have to like move around and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Honestly, in a way, it's gonna end up clearing my workspace because I have all of these things open that I use. But if your contextual taskbar is just,
you don't know her.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just, we just need to have this out next to our workspace, and it can like kind of ask us. So I'm going to leave that there.
That's good to me.
Try not to be precious with everything, but I think I'll add Chad Rolfs eventually.
Yes, we love you, Chad. If we'll post it on social media.
Absolutely.
Hashtag Adobe Firefly. If you are going to do that, go ahead, tag Photoshop, hashtag Adobe Firefly. Have some fun. Stick around. We'll be back in 5 minutes. And by we, I mean I'll be sitting right here, and then you'll stay in the stream and then come back and it'll be this exact same shot. Val, thank you so much. Any parting wisdom or advice to our friends who are getting creative today?
Let your imaginations run wild, folks. Yes. There's not a lot of limits here. So definitely check it out, make some cool things, and let us see.
Have fun. Bye, everybody.